This is episode number 1 in a new series, a new season of Meals and Moments. Every 2 weeks, we put out a video showing some of the meals that I've been making. We did this for the entire year of 2025, and in 2026, we're starting at number 1 again. If you're just meeting me, my name is Amy Cross, and this is The Cross Legacy, where I teach you how to save money on groceries. Our grocery budget is $135 per person, and there are 2 people officially living at my house, just my husband and I, so our grocery budget is $270 per month. But now we live closer to our family, and we have friends visiting often, so we are often feeding more people than just the 2 of us, but I'm able to keep it in that same grocery budget. I only go grocery shopping once every month, and normally around that 3-week mark is when I'm starting to look at what we still have left and can use up before I go grocery shopping again. And I love that this video starts right at the 3-week mark since I went grocery shopping. So it's been 3 weeks since I went grocery shopping, and this is starting right at the beginning of January 2026. We were taking a little bit of a break, just spending a lot of time with our family and making some really simple meals using the things that I have batch cooked and could just pull out easily out of the freezer. In December, we got a large case of oranges that came straight from the farm, and then it makes me feel a little bit better about using up almost the last of the apples that we've had since this fall. So I made some homemade applesauce, and this winter I'm just making the applesauce in smaller batches to last about a week in the refrigerator instead of canning them, because we just moved into this house a couple months ago and I haven't started canning in this new house yet. Normally when I'm making applesauce, I make it in a huge roaster and it's an all-day project, and then I water bath can it so it's shelf stable and we can eat it all year long. But right now we still haven't even unpacked all of my canning supplies, so I am just making a batch every week or 2, and then we're using up those apples that we had and still getting to enjoy fresh applesauce. And let's talk about how easy our meals have been lately. We actually have chicken strips in the oven right now that we're going to have chicken Caesar salad wraps for dinner tonight. So one day a week, I'm trying to make something that's a little bit harder and will get us through a longer period of time. So I focus this time on applesauce, but sometimes it's easy as making like chicken stock. But whatever I'm doing, I'm trying to think of how I can use it again later. This one was actually a breakfast, but we had some bacon in the freezer that we wanted to use up. I try when I buy bacon to put it in smaller packages before I freeze it, but this package got snuck into the freezer before I had divided it up. So we had fried egg sandwiches with cheese and some bacon, and then we used that same bacon a few days later to have BLT sandwiches. And the reason I had pulled the bacon out is because over the holidays, my family always requests spinach salad with hot bacon dressing. We have that recipe on the blog. This was a night that I was just pulling dinner out of the freezer and warmed it up really quickly on the stove. I had some shredded cabbage that I had frozen. I normally make stuffed cabbage rolls every fall, and this year I ended up not making them into actual rolls, and that way I could use the filling either for cabbage or filled into peppers. And so that's what I've been doing with the rest of this meal that I had meal prepped and put into the freezer. With this, I had frozen the stuffing part of this separately, and then in bags I had put the shredded cabbage. So I was able to cook the shredded cabbage and then add the filling to it, and we had stuffed cabbage roll bowls instead of stuffed cabbage rolls. With this being right after New Year's, everybody seemed to be ordering books and planners and wanting to get their New Year's goals on track. So we spent a lot of time packing orders, and it's really fun to see all of these orders going out in one day on our front porch. This is another freezer meal that I had made a couple months ago when we first moved into the house, and I'm trying to rotate out some of those meals. And this was chicken enchiladas that we had for dinner. Like literally just had to pull them out of the freezer and warm them up on a tray. We have a video for making chicken enchiladas in batch like this. If you would like to check it out, we will link it in the description. I've been working on a new recipe for a Pear gingerbread breakfast cake, and it is delicious. So I had made it this afternoon, and I've made it another time now, and we're going to be sharing this really soon on the blog and here on YouTube. This has wholesome ingredients in it where you can have it as a dessert, but it works totally for breakfast too. And with me being diabetic, I'm making sure that it doesn't cause any glucose spikes. Over Christmas, I got my first embroidery kit, and I spent a lot of time trying to unwind and be away from screens and learning how to embroider. And so this is the latest project I'm working on. And with this, trying to give myself kind of a holiday break, I have been trying not to be in the kitchen very much either, because being in the kitchen is also my work. So it has been nice to just really focus on new recipes when I'm in the kitchen. And then we have so many batch cooked meals in the freezer that we can just pull things out. And it's been a really nice break right here at the beginning of the new year that I've really been able to feel refreshed and renewed. For this dinner, we pulled out some scalloped potatoes that I actually made on New Year's, and then I had tucked them into the freezer for just a few days, and we pulled them out again. And then we had those with some meatballs. The meatballs were also something I batch cooked a couple months ago. They are on the meals series that we have posted in 2025. And if you're looking for an allergy-friendly meatball recipe, we have one on the blog. I took my Always pan, which is oven safe, and I seared some chicken breast in the pan, and then I cut up some sweet potatoes and Brussels sprouts, and I added those to the pan. And with that, I had added some seasoning that I had found in one of our pantry boxes as I'm starting to unpack our pantry, and it was the Kinder's buttery seasoning. This is something that I used to use quite often, and it's organic, but since we moved, it has been packed up. And as I went to use it, I remembered why I didn't really like it is because it changed the tint, the color of the food to kind of a yellowish green color. And so it didn't look pretty in photos, which is not good for a content creator. And again, it being organic is great, but then I started looking a little bit more into the ingredients that were on there, and I just decided it was not something that I wanted to keep taking up shelf space in my pantry. So with that, I am saying it is okay to get rid of, give to somebody else, something that you bought that you just don't love. So while that was roasting in the oven, I did go through my spice drawer and all my bulk spices to really see what I needed to order for this new year. And the only thing that I was really out of was smoked paprika, which I haven't bought in 4 years. I keep all of my bulk spices in glass mason jars with metal lids, and that way they stay completely airtight and they last a really long time. But I love having my spice drawer here in the kitchen, and I can open it up and there are 50 different spices in there that I use all of the time. We finally got some shelves up in the pantry, and I am slowly starting to go through some of those boxes of things that need to go in the pantry. It has been a long process because that area was totally unfinished, and this is an 80-year-old house. So we have been having to move some electrical lines and also some plumbing that needed to be dealt with before I got to do the fun things. One of the things that I found when I was opening up the boxes was in a glass jar was some dried tortellinis. I get these in the bulk section of our Winco, and I love having these on hand. They do take a little bit longer to cook, but they are really delicious, and we have them in the wintertime for pasta and then in the summertime for salads. And with this, I had just pulled out some Tuscan chicken that I had put in a glass container in the freezer that had 2 chicken breasts in there, and it had a lemon Tuscan sauce with it, so I was able to warm that up in a pan, and I added a couple handfuls of frozen spinach to that, and then the cooked tortellini, and we had dinner in just a few minutes. When we moved into our last house 22 years ago, one of my friends had gave me a little small Thanksgiving cactus. It was about 3 inches tall, and that stayed on my windowsill in my kitchen for many years before I finally moved it to a bigger pot. This thing is massive now, and it blooms every Thanksgiving. But when I moved into this house in September, my best friend gave me a Christmas cactus that is about 3 inches tall and is on my kitchen windowsill. And that one is blooming for the very first time. So I am so excited to have a red Christmas cactus now. And I can't wait to see what it's going to look like in 20 years. I have just went grocery shopping. That video will already be on the channel by the time this video gets on the channel. But I bought some sesame seeds. I already had some beets and garbanzo beans, and I'm going to be making some beet colored hummus. I always forget about making this the rest of the year, but I love making it close to Valentine's Day. I think it is so fun, and it's a great way to encourage your family to eat their veggies. Normally, after after work, after school time, whatever that 3:30-ish until dinner time is, I normally have some veggies sitting out so anybody walking by can grab some. And then I'm not so worried about how many veggies people have on their plate at the table. I also made some tuna casserole that I made with more wholesome ingredients than if you were buying it from a box. This is something that was a childhood favorite of mine, and I'm putting this video up on the channel very soon. With making the tuna casserole, I had a little bit of the bread crumbles left that were mixed with Parmesan cheese, and so I thought that would be perfect sprinkled on our chicken Caesar salad wraps tonight for dinner. Make sure that you're checking out our zero waste produce guide. This is linked in the description along with our grocery and meal planners. There's 5 different covers of these so you can pick the one that fits your personality the best. These are linked with a bundle deal and discount code in the description. And I just want to thank you for being here.